Good morning, guys. This is a picture of what used to be Electro Measurements Incorporated, 1953 to 1958. I'm able to actually read that. I should blow it up here. Oh, it doesn't blow up. That's as big as it gets. That was like Doug Strain and Company. He's this guy, an industrialist eventually, right? But he starts out, he's a conscientious objector during World War II, which is not as like people are really proud of World War II, and how would you be a conscientious objector? But he managed to pull off a really cool life, and that building is nowadays a Quaker meeting house, right, on Stark Street. Here in Portland, Oregon, here's me, Kirby Erner, and I summarized my entire life in one paragraph. Good exercise, I recommend it to anyone, and I stole these books. That background is from academia.edu, really well named. I mean, congrats on getting that domain. You know, if you're in like Caltech or something, it's like, well, that's not real. Like, that's not Caltech. And I understand that sentiment. I was a Princeton guy and I can be a snob. Boy, meet me sometime. Just kidding. So, I'm getting a lot of people checking out my Python here. I've been active in the Python community as an education reformer kind of person. And I was going to show you an email, but anyway, I get emails saying they're checking out my calculus with Python and my high school with Python. These two get the most traffic, or the most people check them out. Every time someone clicks one open, I get some kind of message. I don't know. Maybe they have to be logged in to academia. I don't think so. I forget how it all works, but you can see that for me, it's all blended in with the same stuff that the last two videos have been about. In other words, the Bucky Fuller heritage, which I'm saying you can use to just go to a next version by changing a little bit. This is not an overhaul. That's a big misconception that it has to be an overhaul. I'm just saying start to incorporate, like link the tetrahelix to your graphical idea of a blockchain. It's like, of course, meaningless in a sense. The blockchain is only visualized as a sequence of blocks in the Bitcoin sense, with the competition as to who gets to add the next block. That's called Bitcoin mining or whatever. That whole algorithm of the blockchain, you could do a tetrahedron, each one on the face of the one before. That's as legitimate a block. Or think of Minecraft, the game. What if that had been done using the IVM from last video? Isotropic vector matrix. So here's a traditional, you could say, very accelerated high school math curriculum that I've actually been teaching not that long ago, including for credit, including in person, right after that became possible, after the plague. And I just fit in a little bit of Bucky stuff, and it's enough. It's like I'm not trying to change the world. It's more like I'm trying to remind the world of territory it already has. For example, going on from this Quaker meeting house, that would be Veterans for Peace and others pledging never to use nukes. That's always been strong here in Portland. Again, right? The place where they made the nuke they dropped on Nagasaki isn't far from here. It's called Hanford. It's part of the Manhattan Project. People know that around here. We know our own heritage, right? And this is the boyhood home of Linus Pauling. Linus Pauling, 2 Nobel Prizes unshared. So, place-based education, you're encouraged to pick local heroes, local lore. Like, I'm not trying to brainwash you with everything about my environment. I'm just have a good hand of cards right now. I mean, Linus Pauling House being as close to it as it is and stuff. But this is the slide I really wanted to get to. This is the Whole Earth catalog back in 86, 87. And this is just like science fiction future playing around. What would it be like for America and Russia to join up? And this was the USSR back then. And it was just like these people, they felt like they could speculate. Of course, it's designed to be eye-catchy. No one thought it was really going to happen, but maybe someday, who knows? It's like you were allowed to have these kind of thoughts. This is not considered like a subversive, really. This is Whole Earth. Come on. Whole Earth Review. Okay, it was a spin off magazine. I just happened to collect them. And I'm just trying to remind you that the atmospherics can change. As far as your political environment, that's way more fleeting sometimes. So don't feel so obligated to, if you want to pop this bubble, I'm with you on that, right? And so this is the pin to pop the bubble. It's just a little additional information. And the way on 52 Living Ideas that it's just coming out mostly as schemas or diagrams, thinking metaphorically, mimetically. If you study memory palace literature, think about watching some YouTubes on memory palace tradition, where you just use more geometry than you're used to, maybe, to remember stuff, to hold it all together. One way or another, there's more geometry in there, and it doesn't make it geometry or math that you're studying. It makes it psychology with more right brain material, you could say. And then you don't neglect that opportunity. And once you're in the mood to think that way, then yeah, dive into some math. And that's what I'm encouraging here. I'm just putting Python as another layer on top of well established math that we already, like Fibonacci series or closest pack spheres, especially, right? That's the IVM being created there. In other words, if you connect all those little balls to their adjacent balls by means of short rods, those are both the edges of that tetrahedron that we use in quadrats. Here's the Martian math part. Four balls connected, right, make a tetrahedron like this. So the edges, you could say, are two radii or one diameter. And that means the basis vectors, the blue ones coming out from the center, they're not even unit. So we're talking about an algebra or a vector calculus or a vector computational system, a coordinate system, where the four basis vectors are not even unit. It's the framing tetrahedron that has edges 1, volume 1. And in a Wittgenstein foundations kind of language, that's fine. There's no crime in that. You can start with different games, right? Math doesn't have this like force you to just play by one set of rules. That's human psychology that makes you think that way. So yeah, we try on for size something a little bit different, and we think a little bit different, and we go a little bit different down that rabbit hole. Like we study math as if this were normal, the tetrahedron of unit volume, right? As if that were the way all kinds of people thought. That's why we call it Martian math, because it's like we need to deal with the Martians all of a sudden. That's just any ETs, and that's how they think, right? So that's a whole science fiction show that I keep pitching to Hollywood, but Hollywood is not interested in new. They want to do remake, 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 right? That's it. So let's make our own cartoons, and let's use Blender some. Think of doing Minecraft. Don't redo Minecraft, right? Too big. But just think as if it were the IVM and instead of all cubes. Just think that way and you'll be halfway there. Like voxel, think of that term. Filling, like pixel fills the screen, voxels fill like space. Instead of cubes, use rhombic dodecahedra and look that up, right? So these kind of things, these memes, knit them together, and before you know it, you'll be the next version, and things will be better for you, let's say, right? I'm being the traditional huckster here, trying to say there are benefits. Well, I don't want to lie. There are. Talk to you later.